She asked, "What if you saw me with another guy?" I thought it was a joke, until she made it real. So I packed my things, left a letter on the bed, and vanished from her life. I 32M never imagined I'd be that guy telling his story online. But life has a way of handing you lessons you didn't know you needed until you're right in the middle of them. It all started on a quiet Sunday evening as my girlfriend and I were preparing dinner together in our cozy kitchen. The music was playing softly in the background, our usual comfort zone, when out of nowhere, she turned to me and asked, "What if you saw me with another guy?" I paused, blinked, and chuckled, thinking she was teasing or making a strange joke. I replied lightly, "Why would I be okay with that? Are we in an open relationship now?" She just gave a vague smile and changed the subject like it was nothing. I didn't push it, just assumed she was testing boundaries or talking abstractly like people sometimes do in long-term relationships. We'd been together for over 2 years, and I truly believed we had something solid. But things started feeling different almost immediately. She grew quiet, slightly distant, her eyes glued to her phone more than usual. She wasn't cruel or dismissive, just detached. Then on Thursday, she mentioned she was meeting old college friends for a night out. I thought nothing of it until I came across an Instagram story that evening. A picture posted by her friend. There she was, dressed up nicely, leaning way too close to some guy I didn't recognize. Still, I held my tongue. Maybe I was reading into it. Maybe I was just paranoid. Then came Saturday. She returned home late, not wasted but clearly tipsy and giddy. When I asked how her night went, she casually mentioned meeting someone interesting. She brushed past it quickly, like it was no big deal. I felt something crack inside me but said nothing. By Monday, my doubts were confirmed. I walked into our apartment after work and heard her speaking softly on the balcony. She didn't know I was there. I heard enough to know the truth. She was talking to him, the interesting guy. I remember her words exactly. "I think he's okay with it. He hasn't said anything. So I guess that means he understands we're just exploring." That word exploring hit me like a punch to the chest. It made me feel like I was nothing more than an old coat left hanging while she shopped around for something trendier. I slept next to her that night in silence, my thoughts racing, my trust eroding. I realized this wasn't about mutual growth or open dialogue. This was about seeing how far she could push me without breaking. And for the first time, I stopped trying to justify her actions or rationalize the hurt. I realized I was already alone in this relationship. The following morning, over coffee, she looked me in the eye and said calmly, "I've been thinking, maybe we should try being open, just for a while. Nothing serious, just seeing other people casually. No strings attached." Her tone was so casual, as if she was asking me to pick up almond milk instead of whole. I just looked at her and said, "Okay." That was it. She looked surprised, even a bit pleased. She expected resistance, maybe a long talk about jealousy and boundaries. But I gave her silence, and she mistook it for agreement. The truth was, I had already started letting go. Over the next 2 weeks, she became bolder. Her messages were short, her nights out more frequent. She'd say things like, "I might stay at Jenna's," or "Don't wait up," still playing the girlfriend role, kissing me goodbye, picking up groceries, asking if I needed anything, but her heart was clearly elsewhere. I watched the shift happen slowly but surely. I didn't go through her phone or confront her. That's not who I am. Instead, I turned my energy inward. I opened a new bank account, shifted my finances gradually. I stayed later at work, took on a freelance project, reconnected with friends she'd called too boring. I started rebuilding quietly, preparing for a departure she didn't see coming. Then came the final straw. One evening she came home glowing, talking about a guy named Alex. She said he was smart, spiritually attuned, and got her in ways I never did. She even laughed and said, "You'd like him. Honestly, you two would get along." That was the moment it hit me. I wasn't her partner anymore. I was her placeholder, her safety net. Someone to keep the lights on while she explored chaos. 3 weeks had drifted past since that moment she sat across from me with a smile on her lips and a lie in her heart. telling me she just wanted to explore. But the truth was, she never asked me to join her in that exploration. She wanted me to sit on the shore while she sailed into other waters, thinking I'd be waiting when she docked again. But I wasn't waiting. I was packing my things slowly, quietly, deliberately. I left behind the trinkets and tokens that once meant something to us. The fridge magnets from our beach trips, the matching coffee mugs, the worn-down couch where we had shared late-night conversations and even later arguments. And when I shut that door for the last time, it felt like I was locking away a version of myself that had begged for her attention, her respect, her clarity, but never received it. Took 2 days for her to notice, and when she did, the messages started pouring in. First confusion, then panic, then guilt dressed as concern. She wrote things like, "Where are you?" and "Let's talk," followed by, "This isn't what I wanted." But the line that truly froze me was when she said, "I didn't think you'd actually leave." That one sentence told me everything I needed to know. She had counted on my loyalty turning into blindness, on my love becoming a chain rather than a choice. She had been so certain that I would endure her experiment, that the idea of me choosing myself over her had never crossed her mind. It wasn't remorse that filled her voice when she eventually found me and asked to talk. It was the sound of a woman realizing her safety net had finally been cut loose. When she showed up at my new place, her eyes didn't sparkle with the same carefree energy she once had. Instead, they were shadowed with sleepless nights and regret. She spoke softly, telling me it was never about cheating, that she just felt emotionally claustrophobic and thought an open arrangement would help. She said she believed that if I fought for her, it would mean I still cared. But there was no war to be fought, no enemy except the silence she had let grow between us, no weapon except the dagger of indifference she had so casually plunged. I let her speak, and when she finally asked, "Can we try again?" I gave her the only honest answer I had left inside me. "No, I think you want something I don't. You said you needed freedom and I gave it to you. But I won't be the man you return to once the fire dies down." Her lips trembled, but she didn't argue. She just nodded, turned away, and walked off quietly, the way people do when they know there's nothing left to say that would change the ending. That evening, I sat back on my couch, opened a cold beer, and let music drift through the room. Not sad music, just soft, thoughtful notes that matched the strange calm I felt. In the weeks that followed, I slowly reclaimed my joy. I went back to hobbies I'd abandoned, called friends I hadn't seen in months, slept soundly without wondering who she was with or what excuse I'd hear next. It wasn't easy, but it was peaceful. And that peace was everything I had forgotten I deserved. A final message from her arrived a few weeks later. Just one line. "I get it now. I'm sorry. Take care of yourself." And that was the last I heard. No long apologies. No begging. Just a whisper that she finally understood the weight of what she'd tossed away. People often talk about love and freedom as if they can't exist together. But what they don't say is that real love requires respect. The kind of respect that doesn't come from testing boundaries until they break. She wanted to see what else was out there. And that's fine. But in doing so, she forgot that some people won't wait for you to come back from your adventure. Some people, like me, will quietly close the chapter and begin a new one. One where loyalty isn't a cage, but a choice that's freely given and fully returned. I appreciate you listening to my story till the very end. If you've ever felt like you were the only one holding the rope in a relationship, know that you deserve more than half love and hollow promises. Hit that subscribe button for more stories like this, and remember, sometimes walking away isn't the end. It's the beginning of finally choosing yourself.